We have one of Tasha's friends here today who is very interesting, and her name is Becky Mullins. Hi, Becky.
Hello, thank you for asking me.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You're so inspirational. I mean, Tasha's told me some of your story. Would you like to tell us how it all started?
Gosh. I mean,
let's
it's
go
been
back,
a journey.
Let's start from the beginning, because obviously we met probably 30 years ago or something like that.
You were 2.
Yeah.
Before I was born.
Love you.
Before
you were born. And then we sort of didn't see each other because you moved away, didn't you? And
I mean, we kind of knew each other from the modelling and the promotional and that sort of industry, didn't we?
Yeah.
And I went through horrific domestic violence, and I suddenly got moved by the police out of South London to East London. So we kind of lost touch, didn't we?
Yeah.
So I kind of had a lot to deal with.
Well, so what actually happened to you?
It was, I was the highest case in my borough of domestic violence. Just a horrific, you know, not just physical, but also that mental thing.
And how old were you at that time when that was going on?
My kids were small, so I mean we're going back probably about 20 years ago.
And in those days, did people take it as seriously as they do now?
No, they didn't. And you know what? I often think, thank goodness I am a strong person, because I literally had to fight for everything. You know, I went to court to try and get him removed from the house and got told, well, share the house, make up a kitchen rota. And I was like, he's beating me up. How can I make up a rota?
Excuse me.
When we're going to use the kitchen? Do you know, it took a long time until once he went and sort of hit me again and got the police, and finally the judge said he was evicted from the house. But it was a long journey, and I was battling alcoholism, addiction.
Well, of course, anything to ease
yeah,
the pain.
anything to change how I feel and just numb. But I mean, I suppose I've done a lot of work on myself. You know the work I've done on myself. I can't really blame that. You know, that was always there. And then finally I got a house, and he'd turn up and he'd be 101 feet, and the police would turn up and they'd go, sorry love, this restraining order says 100 feet. He's 101. So it took a long time, and then finally he did breach it, the first breach, and this is what you love. So we've gone to the Crown Court, and he gets a fine. They were running late. I come out and I get a fine, and my fine that I got for running over my car park was more than what he got for breaching his restraining order. So it was, I mean, the stories I could tell you, you know, I've had to be a fighter. Since I come into recovery, I've been doing all this manifestation, this spiritual stuff. I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a risk. I've only got one life. I'm going to risk it. And all my family thought I was crazy. You know, single mum, 4 young kids, giving up this really good job and to go and start my own business.
Yeah.
And luckily, it just took off from there. You know, we was producing all the shows for Fashion Week. It started with London, then I obviously got Paris and Milan. I was doing Milan with my friend, and he was obviously said to me, like, he left the Milan show and he was like, look, let's do something together. And we came up with this idea for the TV show.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so that was the kind of next chapter, was the TV show, which was, we raised it all on ourselves. We did it in Paris. So we
Did you
designers.
name it?
It was The Artisan Way.
Oh, yeah, that was it.
Yeah. We really wanted to highlight sustainability. If you sat my girls down and you tried to bombard them with a load of information, they'd go, oh, yeah, whatever. So we thought, right, well, what do the youth want? What would they respond to? They respond to reality TV. I mean, I've got 3 daughters. They're hooked on all this reality
this
TV
is the problem, isn't it?
programmes.
They're all hooked on it.
So let's deliver the message in a way and a language that they can understand, i.e. reality TV. We went out to Spain, and I remember just thinking, oh, I can feel a little lump, you know, just protect myself. You know, you just do, don't you? You hear these stories, and I don't know how, I just felt this lump. When I came back, I went and I was referred to the breast clinic, and then 2 weeks later I got called back to say, you've got stage 4 cancer.
Bloody hell.
And I was like, what do you mean I've got stage 4 cancer? I'm as fit as a fiddle. But I was going to the gym. I was like going out. I did not feel ill. The only thing I did notice is I'd lost a bit of weight, but I put it down to the stress of trying to sort mum out in a home.
And we also love losing a bit of weight.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I did. And I was like, this is good. Like, it was a bit of grief. Like, I've lost a bit of weight. I'm back in an 8. You know, I'd lost that stone. But obviously now knowing it was the cancer. But so they said basically it was skin. They couldn't find the mole that it had come from, but it had gone through my blood and metastasised into my breast. To see, okay, here was a professional woman, she nearly lost her kids, you know, and how it just went down for me. And also the domestic violence thing, you know, all this stuff is quite, it's just not spoken about enough. And I think it's because women, like you pointed out, Debbie, they have that guilt, that shame. So I think it's really important to kind of say, yeah, you know what, this was my story. It's not who I am today, but this is what happened to me.
Yeah.
And also it's like, you know, despite all of that, I've never given up and I've kept going.